Episode 477. 5 days. Blue River caught on immediately. Most high-level players were already in a guild, especially the veterans. They all knew how crucial the guild's guardian power was, so they typically joined one early on. However, the Lord Grim Guild's explosive and high-profile founding might have stirred the hearts of some among them. The catch is, even if they wanted to join, they couldn't do so immediately. They'd have to wait at least 5 days after leaving their current guilds. So, 5 days later, the Happy Guild would still gain a number of useful members, one way or another. By that point, there probably wouldn't be any need for a spy like me. But that would also be the perfect time for a high-level mole to really get established. Blue River's mind was racing with possibilities. But when he received the news that Yi Shu could keep doing this for as long as he wanted, he was still taken aback. Does the great Yi Chu truly have no guard up against me at all? Blue River felt a flicker of confusion in his heart. Does the great Yi Chu need to be guarded against? Even Blue River himself couldn't quite put his finger on it because he didn't know what to make of his current state of mind. He had inexplicably taken on the task entrusted by the great Yi Chu, busying himself in the guild channel without much thought, simply following the master's plan. But if it were my usual self, would I use this newfound trust to become a proper spy? Blue River was lost in thought. He found himself at a crossroads, left or right, and it seemed the time to choose had come. The idea of one person running 2 guilds with 2 accounts, Blue River suddenly remembered what Yi Chu had said. Of course, that had just been a joke. An average player might do something like that, but Blue River? He's a registered pro player for the Blue Rain Club, drawing a salary from them. There's no way he'd be working for someone else.
Forget it. I'll stop overthinking it. Let's just get through these 5 days first.
Blue River finally shook his head and went back to focusing solely on the busy work in the guild channel. 5 days isn't a long time, but it's not short either. In Glory, 5 days are more than enough to generate a lot of new dungeon records, and that's something every guild cares deeply about, especially after Lord Grim's Happy Guild was established. According to incomplete statistics, several guild leaders have already woken up from nightmares. The story goes that when they woke up, all they could see was the Happy Guild sweeping the top spots on every major dungeon record leaderboard. Yet, the very scenario everyone feared never came to pass. 5 days passed. With the players' levels rising another notch, Happy hadn't managed to snatch a single record in any dungeon. Even those who had started to hold some expectations for them, or who thought they'd get to see some excitement, felt a bit let down after those 5 days. In 5 days, the only record the Happy Guild left in the players' eyes was climbing from level 5 to level 12. For a guild that's consistently maintained peak membership numbers, this upgrade speed really isn't anything special. However, after surpassing level 10, the enthusiasm of players joining the Happy Guild had cooled somewhat. The crucial point is, Happy is already level 12, but they still haven't challenged the level 2 Guardian Demon that was available at level 10. It's all thunder and no rain. While many outside voices were making such comments, top-tier guilds like Tyrannical Ambition were grinding their molars over it. Could it be that Happy didn't challenge the Guardian Demon at level 10 because they simply weren't strong enough yet? And back at level 5, when they could fight it, was that really just because the spies they sent over ended up helping them instead? Once they realized this, the only thought left for the guild leaders was to kick people out. And right now, it's the perfect opportunity to plant a spy. 5 days. Players who had previously left their guilds to join the Happy Guild can finally do so now. Every major guild could confirm this information, because even powerhouses like them weren't immune to players quitting. This was especially true for Blue Brook Guild and Tyrannical Ambition. Both major guilds had been hit hard by Lord Grim, leading many of their new recruits to question their guild's leadership. These new Glory players hadn't yet developed that fan-like loyalty to the club guilds. Seeing that Lord Grim, who seemed even more formidable than their own guilds, was also starting one, many of these rookies immediately had a change of heart and vanished in a flash. As they debated whether to send spies again, the major guilds all thought of their own members who had quit recently and couldn't help but feel a wave of frustration. Of course, spies still needed to be sent. This time, the guilds didn't have to agonize over whether their agents would just become free labor for the other side. This time, even without their spies, they could still form a high-level 20-player team. For Happy, this new wave of recruits was actually a consequence set in motion 5 days ago. Many of these new members were actually players who had left the guild before. The fact that they hadn't fought the Guardian God after reaching level 10 had dampened the enthusiasm for joining the Happy Guild. That much was true. But the slow growth of the Happy Guild after reaching level 10 was absolutely not caused by this reason. Even if the players' enthusiasm had waned, with the sheer size of the player base on the 10th server, keeping the guild full by adding 100 members with every level up was hardly a difficult task. At this moment, Happy Guild's application list was still filled with a large number of waiting players. The slow growth in membership was entirely intentional on Yishu's part. He was deliberately waiting for this batch of players who, 5 days ago, had been ready to join them, players who had even quit their old guilds for the chance. This was especially true for those who had left major guilds. Their enthusiasm was undeniable. Tianqi, Midnight Moon, and their crew also transferred over from their Moonwheel Guild, bringing along a few of their guild buddies. None of them were top-tier experts, but they were all seasoned veterans of glory. Their levels weren't high either, but Yishu welcomed this group with open arms. They were veterans, and their levels were perfectly in sync with the general player base. Leveling up alongside these newbies, they could provide a ton of support. As for characters like Yishu's Lord Grimm, whose level was several tiers higher than the newbies, having these high-level players carry low-level ones through low-level dungeons, it was fine once or twice, or even for a day or two, but over time they probably wouldn't be so willing. Veterans like Tianqi, who were at the right level, took on this responsibility. They mixed with the newbies, acting as commanders, which was far better than having the rookies fumble through the dungeon by blindly following a guide.